Lights, camera, action. Storytelling has always been a part of the human condition. Expressing ourselves through stories, both real and made up, to convey a feeling is one of the most powerful of human inventions. Film allows us to share those stories, those emotions, on a level beyond our wildest imagination. That is the true beauty of cinema. What's up, Blue Roof Nation, and welcome to Cinema, a brand new show where we talk about movies, franchise of movies, just that whole world of cinema. It's kind of like Nostalgia 100, except that was always supposed to be about movies from our childhood, from when we were, young lads and lasses. This is about all cinema, including current cinema, including movies that people will go, that's not cinema, right? That's a movie. That's not film. Cinema's film. That's a movie. Why the hell are we talking about that? And that's kind of where we're going to start today. And we're not just going to talk about a movie. We're going to talk about a franchise. Again, a franchise that a lot of people are like, don't know if I would consider that cinema. They'd be wrong. Because there's nothing I love more. Well, there's quite a few things I love more, but I really love this franchise. It holds a soft spot in my heart. And every time a new one comes out, I get overwhelmed with excitement. Because we are talking about the franchise not really to end all franchises, but one of the most successful franchises, which is crazy because there's only like 10 or so entries. But there's nothing more important than family. And we are talking about a franchise all about family. The franchise about family. The Fast and the Furious saga. What? That's right. The Fast and the motherfucking Furious. This movie came out in the long forgotten year of 2001, a time before any of us can remember, when the world was young and full of hope. Oh God. The original movie, it holds a special place in my heart. Now, I actually didn't see that in theaters. My best friend back home in San Diego actually gave it to me on VHS. Yes, VHS. Oh my God, it was long ago. Thinking about it though, clearly there were DVD players and DVDs at the time, and all I had was a PS2, so I could have watched on DVD. But they gave it to me on VHS. Watched it over and over again, and I fell in love with the movie. It was just fun, and I was 12. Fast cars, hot women. What's not to love? Don't judge me, all right? It's sentimental on a level you probably wouldn't understand unless you were 12 around the same time I was, and it's just a fun movie, And Dominic Toretto, he's a badass. He's cool. Michelle Rodriguez is fucking gorgeous. And so was me. Jesus. But my favorite character was always Brian O'Connor. He was just so cool and collected and calm all the time. Like, nothing ever seemed to faze him.
Brian, don't lose that cool of yours. That's your meal ticket.
I really liked that character. Nothing ever seemed to faze him, I wanted to be like that. It was exciting, and that was kind of it. If it was a one-and-done movie, it would probably be remembered fondly, but I don't know if it would be a cult classic. I don't know if it would be something that people are still talking about today. But I think it's what came after that definitely cemented it as a franchise that people won't shut up about. Because everything that came after. But that's not to say that the first movie wasn't great. It did something that a lot of movies, even today, even back then, don't do. Or actually, movies, you watch old movies, they used to do it a lot. And then somewhere along the line, it kind of faded away. And right now, movies are all about plots and exciting action. But there was a time when movies were about characters. And the first Fast and the Furious movie was very much about characters. It was about who these people are and what they're going through. And yes, there were fast cars racing, and there was DVD players being stolen by trucks, and high-speed highway car chases. It was definitely exciting. There was definitely a lot of action, but it was about characters. It was about the relationships that these people had, and that ending when Brian captures Dom and then lets him go and gives up everything for him. I think that's really what built this whole franchise. If it wasn't for that scene, if that scene had gone any other way, I don't think we would have what we have today. But they did that, they played it right, and everything else was built off of that one scene. So much so that they reference that scene in the newest movie, which we will get to. There will be spoilers. What? Alright. But it really drove home the message, even in that first movie, that family isn't just blood. Family are the people you choose. And that is something that has always been really important to me. I consider my closest friends family. That's just who I am, and a lot of my friends feel the same way. It's that notion that you choose, your friends are the family you choose. And this movie was all about that. It taught us that family is something that you sacrifice everything for. Even if it's not strictly what's legally right, even if it's not what you're supposed to do. If the people you love are in trouble, in danger, you give up everything for them. You put them first, because that is what love is. No, I'm not talking about romantic love, I'm just talking about love in general. But love isn't about you, it's about the other person. And if you sacrifice of yourself to help somebody else, that's love. That's what it is, and that's what that movie was about. Plus, this movie showed us the Hector factor. What's that? What's the Hector factor? Oh, it's the fact that the guy who plays Hector in this movie played Hector in not one, but 7 other series. Either thus tying them all together into the same universe, or proving that these Hollywood writers really can't think of any other names for people. One actor playing the same character, and his real name's not even Hector. It's insane. I never understood it. It blows my mind. But I do like that they brought Hector back in later movies. That was cool. Anywho, I mean, really, it's okay. We're talking about the first movie, but they do bring almost everybody back. It's insane. Well, almost everybody. But this movie it's fun, it's good. Plus, it has a post-credit scene. What? You mean that's not just a Marvel invention? And what is the post-credit scene? It's just Dom driving, talking about a lesson that I'm still trying to learn. That you can't live your life in the future or in the past. You gotta live in the moment. You gotta live it a quarter mile at a time. It's corny as fuck, but it's so profound. I love it. I'm gonna cry. Anyways, let's move on. Let's move on. I'm trying not to cry. No, alright, so let's just move on, alright? So the next one is the first of the short films. Now, there are 2 short films. This first one is Prelude to Too Fast, Too Furious. And it's literally just Brian O'Connor being hunted down by the police, going from LA to Miami. It's the whole short film. Picking up a girl along the way. Brian O'Connor, ladies and gentlemen. Brian O'Connor. It's literally all the short film is a road trip while the police hunt him down. Next up, if you count all the movies and stuff, and it actually isn't the second one to come out. We'll get to that next. But it is the second one to bear the name Fast and the Furious. Too Fast, Too Furious, where Brian lives the life of Dom. Winning races, kind of being the cool guy in town, hanging out with Ludacris. Man, living the life, man. And then he gets dragged back into law enforcement. He's not happy, but he does it. And he can't do it alone, so he brings in his friend Roman Pierce, who hates him because he blames him for him getting arrested and it's all this drama. It's good. It's a good movie. I've always felt it's kind of the weak link of the series, but it sets up a lot of stuff that comes later, and it's a buddy cop flick. Plus, Eva Mendes is so damn beautiful, so beautiful. Can we just take a moment and think of how gorgeous Eva Mendes is? So I mean, there's that. You know, there's the Eva Mendes factor. But it's also just a buddy cop flick. And if you like buddy cop films, you gotta love this one. I mean, it's perfect. It plays for all the rules. It's fun. There's a little rebelness to it. Brian and Rome both steal a bunch of money. The rebels, you know? It's cool. It's fun. It's not what you think it's gonna be. It definitely takes the series and spins it in a whole new direction. And you can't help but love it. Even though I still think it's the weak link, it's still fun. It's still better than... I'd rather watch that than a lot of other movies. I should tell you something, that even when the weak link is better than other people's movies, you know it's good. So next up is the movie that actually came out second. The movie that nobody wants to talk about. I remember I actually told a friend about this movie, and they told me, and that quote, "It's not part of the series. I looked it up on Wikipedia, and they don't mention it at all. I don't know why you include it, but it's really not part of the series." Well, guess what? They include it on the Wikipedia now. Huh? What? Yeah! No, I don't know why I'm getting so hostile. I'm right. everybody else is wrong, just like always, and no one ever wants to admit, I'm always right. I'm always right. God, why can't people just acknowledge that I'm always right? I don't know. Well, this has been, wait, what am I doing? Okay, back to the point at hand. This movie, it's a little indie film made by Justin Lin called Better Luck Tomorrow. Now, the way I found out about this movie was the commentary track for Tokyo Drift, which obviously came out before this but takes place later than this in the timeline, so we will get to it later on. Stop judging me. But anyway, so on the commentary track for that, Justin Lin says that this movie, that Han from Tokyo Drift is the same Han from this movie. When he did Tokyo Drift, he brought the character in, and that in his mind, it's always been the same character. The actor who plays Han says the same thing. So anyone who disagrees with me and thinks they're right and I'm wrong, you're wrong. You're just wrong. I'm done pretending that you're not wrong because you're wrong. Deal with it. Accept the fact that you're wrong. Anyway, this movie really doesn't have anything to do with fast cars. Han has a cool sports car. He loves cars. It's really all this movie has to do with cars. It's about Han. Well, Han is actually kind of a supporting character. There's 4 guys. The main star is this guy named Ben. Then you have his best friend Virgil, Virgil's cousin Han, and then this asshole guy named Derek. And Derek kind of comes into the group at the end. Or not at the end, but like kind of the establishment is these 3 guys. Han, Virgil, and Ben. And they're doing little scams, like they're buying things and then returning it for more money from what looks like fries. They're just doing little scams. Then Derek gets Ben kind of not kicked off the basketball team, but writes his paper that Ben's only on the basketball team because he's Asian, and it's affirmative action that he's on there and that he's not really good, even though Ben is obsessed with basketball and practices every day. And so he quits the team because everyone's like, we support you, and then he feels all judged. So he hates the guy, but then the guy offers him to do people's homework for them and get paid for it, and he takes in. And then these 4 guys become con artists, essentially. And they start basically running a little gang in the school, making quite a good money, I might add. The whole time Ben is trying to date this girl who's actually dating, I believe his name's Steve, who is played by none other than John Cho from Star Trek and Harold and Kumar. So, and Steve's a weird guy. He's rich, popular, smart, and he keeps kind of pawning his girlfriend off on Ben whenever he doesn't want to go out with him, which is kind of weird. And I'm like, what? But it's what happens in the movie, all right? So eventually Ben doesn't want to do this stuff anymore, and he calls it quits. And then Steve comes and he offers them one last job, to rob from his parents, because he wants to teach his parents a lesson. Now, Ben wants no part of this, but his friends want to teach Steve a lesson, because none of them like him, because he's a pompous asshole. Shit goes wrong, and Steve ends up dead. That is what this movie is. It is so genius, and so what the fuck? Like, you just gotta watch it. If you haven't seen Better Luck Tomorrow, you need to watch it. And it's Han when he's young. You know, he's in high school. So if you like the character Han from Fast and the Furious, this is his origin story. This is when he was in high school. Watch it now. And it's part of the universe. Justin Lin said so. Deal with it. Next up, we got the final of the 2 shorts. This one written and directed by Vin Diesel. It shows Letty coming back and Dom leaving her for her own good. It sets up that Han and Dom are friends, Leo and Santos. It kind of just sets up the world that Dom is playing in for Fast and Furious. Which, by the way, Fast and Furious, without the thes. That's how you differentiate the 1st and 4th movie. No thes. Alright, just in case you were confused. The Fast and the Furious, Fast and Furious. Completely different titles, not at all confusing. The only thing probably less confusing than this is Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Well, you can take out the middle one, that's Rob Zombie in Halloween, which is a direct sequel to Halloween. What? Anyway, let's move on. Let's just move on. Alright, so this brings us to Fast and Furious. Again, very important, without the thes. In this movie, Letty dies. Brian, who is a Fed, again, they say Fed again, even though before he was a uniform cop who went undercover, trying to make detective. Now he's a federal agent. Okay, we'll just move on. He tries to solve the murder. Dom comes back, tries to solve the murder. They go up against each other, become friends again. Brian starts dating Mia again. What? Turns out Letty was working for Brian to try to clear Dom's name. It's all convoluted mess that is just genius. Meanwhile, they end up working for a smuggler guy in South America, going under tunnels and stuff like that. It's just genius. It's a fun movie that literally revived the franchise and brought it back. And it's been going strong ever since. This is the movie that saved the franchise. And it's fun. It's exciting. And it reintroduces us to these characters, and it brings them together in a way that kind of makes sense, despite the, uniform cop, and now he's a federal agent again, and okay. Not as convoluted as Roseanne season 10, but we'll try. We'll roll with it, Where was I going? Oh, okay. And once again, it ends with Dom about to be getting caught with Brian, and Brian saying fuck his career, and he's gonna let Dom go. Except this time, Dom doesn't go. Dom turns himself in because he's tired of running. And he was promised immunity. Brian promised him. And he delivered the bad guy. So where's his immunity? Except he didn't get it. The judge is like, hey, you did good. You're going to prison for the rest, for like, whatever, 20 years, the rest of your life. You're going. You can't trust the government. That's what this movie teaches you. You can't trust the government. Never trust them. Well, Brian, who's now dating Dom's sister yet again, say fuck that, and they go off, speed down the street to capture the bus that Dom's on. Is being transferred to prison to save. Boom. That's the ending of this movie. What an ending! Boom! The movie that revitalized the franchise ends on a cliffhanger, and you love it. Leaves you wanting more. What? I don't know why I'm so hyper. I haven't filmed anything in a long time. I think just lights and camera in my face. I'm all a flutter. Next up, we got Fast Five. Fast Five. That's with a 5 in it, son. A 5. What? Not at all a lazy title. This movie picks up right where the last one ended, with them racing down the bus, saving Dom. No one gets hurt as they flip a bus over, get Dom out of there. Then we end up in Rio, and with Vince from the first movie, who hates Brian, and he sets them up, and all of a sudden, like, shit's going wrong, and Vince ain't part of the family no more because he set them up, and they got a chip that shows all the bad guys' money spots, so they call in everyone like Han, and Leo, and Santos, and Luda, and Roman, and Gal Gadot from the last movie, Wonder Woman. Yes, she was in Fast and Furious, and now she's in Fast 5 because she's part of the family now. It's a family, son. It's a family. So they get everyone together, and they plan a heist. The Rock comes in, and he meets, what's her name, Elena, who's very important to the series moving forward. But right now she's just a translator, and there's some chemistry between Dom and her. And The Rock, known as Hobbs in this movie, is hunting down Dom, and Dom's going up against the Kingpin, and The Rock's team is ambushed by the Kingpin's men, and he ends up helping Dom and them steal the safe, and the movie's crazy, but it's probably, out of all of them, the funnest. Like the scene where Dom and Brian are hooked up to the safe, and they're just driving through town while all these people are chasing them. Probably the funnest in the whole series. It's probably the funnest car scene in the entire series. It's just so much fun and alive. And, they stop the bad guy, and Hobbs gives Dom and them 24 hours head start, but they got to leave the safe. But what Hobbs doesn't know is that they switched the safe, and they got all the money, and then they all flee, and everyone's rich now. Everyone's rich. Happily ever after, the end of the Fast and Furious saga, because everybody's rich and they got no more worries except Hobbs, who's chasing after them. Done. And like, there's a post-credit scene in this movie. Oh wait, there's a post-credit scene where Eva Mendes comes back and shows Hobbs that Letty's alive. What? Letty alive? They did a whole movie about her dying and them getting revenge for her death, but now she's back. Because you know why? It's a soap opera. It's a comic book, man. Fast and the Furious movies are a goddamn soap opera, a goddamn comic book, and I am here for it. I am so here for it. This is what life is all about. Weird, messed up soap operas that you get unnaturally invested in for no apparent reason, and you just enjoy the hell out of for the rest of your lives, because they're always going to keep making these movies. They're supposed to do 10, now they're doing 11, you know they're going to do 12. Don't lie to me and tell me they're not going to do 15. These movies will never stop, and I'm going to see every one of them in theaters. Just try to stop. Which brings us to Fast and Furious 6. Easily the worst named one. Like, Fast and Furious 6. They didn't even try. That name is just so lame and pathetic, and it's every time I see that name, it just breaks my heart. Like, all of your other names are so weird and creative, and then you have Fast and Furious 6. Like, were you just not trying? Was the guy who comes up with these weird names, like, on vacation? What is that? I don't know. Moving on. No. There's a plot to this movie. We gotta talk about it. Alright, so it's the first of the Shaw brothers, and them trying to stop the first of the Shaw brothers and save Letty. So they go up against, well, another team that's strangely just like them. They basically have a counterpart for everybody they have. Letty doesn't remember anything. Turns out that explosion that we all thought killed her just gave her amnesia, and Shaw saved her and kind of brainwashed her to be his, I don't know, I guess she's not really his woman, but she's on his team, and Dom's trying to save her, and they're working for Hobbs. Hobbs hunts them down and brings them in, and Dom and Elena are dating now, but he finds out that Letty's alive, and he has to go save her, and the whole team comes together to try to save her, and they go up against these other guys. It's really that episode in a cartoon series that, you know, you always wait for, where the Hulk fights the Bat Hulk. That's what this is. It's the Fast Team fights the Fast Team. I don't know what to tell you. That's what this movie is. Wonder Woman dies. Han's arm broken. Dom drives through a plane that's on fire. It's pretty badass. Pretty badass. It's pretty cool. Then we get a post-credit scene that shows that in Tokyo Drift, which I know we haven't talked about yet, we're going to talk about the next, where Han dies, and for all these years, we thought it was an accident, just bad luck, some car just random. But now we find out that Shaw's older brother. The Shaw from Hobbs and Shaw. What? Yes, son. He makes his appearance in the post-credit scene of this movie, and he kills Han. But we ain't talking about that yet, because we got to get to Tokyo Drift first, which is what we're going to talk about next. Because continuity. So, that brings us all the way back to the third movie ever made in the entire history of cinema. No, wait. In this franchise. Well, if you don't count Better Luck. Look, you know what I mean, alright? The third Fast and the Furious movie. Stop playing games with me. God damn it. Just make this so difficult. Alright. So the movie, Tokyo Drift. And basically it's about this really southern kid named Sean who gets in a street race with the oldest son from Home Improvement.
Make it interesting, Clay.
And his mother seduces a cop, and they exile him to Japan to live with his dad, who clearly doesn't want him. He meets Bow Wow and Han, and goes up against the nephew of a Yakuza mobster guy to try to win the affection of this girl who's really hot. It's pretty much the whole movie in a nutshell. But it's so fun. It's a throwaway movie. If you watch it when it first came out, like if you watch the third out of these movies, even then, it's kind of a throwback to the first movie, which is all about racing. But so much more so when you get 6 of the or 5 of these movies ahead of them, and then it's a throwback to a race movie. So it's nice. You know, of course, Han dies in it. In this movie, you think it's an accident, but then, you know, when you take the context of the last movie into effect, you realize, oh, he was murdered by Shaw. We'll get back to that. And then at the ending, Sean, you know, he's the new Drift King, and someone wants to race him, and he's like, not today, and they're like, oh, he's a friend of Han's, and it's Vin Diesel. What? Vin Diesel. Dom shows up, son. That's how this movie ends, with Dominic Toretto returning to the franchise after being gone for a movie, except you go in the order of the series. He hasn't been gone that long at all, really. So, Dominic Toretto, man. Dominic Toretto. What? Which, of course, brings us to Furious 7. Probably the movie with the most sad backstory. While they were filming this movie, Paul Walker, plays Brian O'Connor, died in an actual car crash. The rest of his role was filled in this movie with his brothers filling in and then CGI and stuff. It's very sad. You know, he was very young in the prime of his life. So what this movie's about is the guys, the team, are kind of living their best life. They got immunity after the last one with the Shaw brother. It gave them all immunity, so they're finally back home. And Jason Statham, who plays the other Shaw, is trying to get revenge. And he kills Han. Vin Diesel goes to Tokyo, and it kind of has a scene that takes place right after Tokyo Drift, which in the context of this story and the continuity isn't really that big a deal. But if you take it in the real world, when it's been so long since Tokyo Drift, it was really cool seeing those characters again. And Shaw's a badass. he really is, you know. Obviously, at the ending of the last movie, Dom left Atlanta and went back with Letty. And over the course of this movie, Letty gets her memories back, and they start working for Mr. Nobody. It becomes a spy movie more than anything else. You know? A lot of action. They befriend a hacker who becomes part of the family. And it's just a badass movie. And then the ending of the movie, if you don't cry watching the ending of the movie, you have no soul. It's literally a farewell. First there's a farewell to Brian O'Connor, and it's Luda and Roman and Michelle Rodriguez and Dom watching Brian and Mia play with their kids, talking about this is where he belongs and this is the life he needs. And the whole movie's really Brian, you know, saying he misses the action, he misses the adventure, and this retired life isn't for him. And at the end, they're like, no, this retired life is what he needs. It's the best for him. And it's a beautiful goodbye to Brian O'Connor. And then he drives off, and Vin follows him. And they have this song playing. It just makes you cry. It does. Just thinking about it makes you cry. And then when that's done, and it looks like Brian's driving off into heaven, not quite as corny as in Grease, but you get it. They then do a tribute to Paul Walker. It is just, it kills you, man. It does. It's also probably the reason why it's the first one out of these movies to pass $1 billion. Because, my God, man. The movie just tears at your heart at the end. It does, man. It really does. I need a moment to compose myself.
Look at him! Look at him!
Yeah, buddy.
Duty calls.
It does.
Come on!
Let's get mama. Yeah! Here we go.
Because the sun is out, you know,
Yeah!
I'm medium rare, but I can get like well done. It's like really dark. What you nudging me for? Close your mouth for 2 seconds. Just open your eyes, man. Beautiful.
That's where he belongs.
Home. Where he's always belonged. Things are gonna be different now.
You aren't going to say goodbye?
You got it? Oh, man.
It's never goodbye.
It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling stronger. What's small turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken. The love will never get lost. And when brotherhood come first, then the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own when that line had to be drawn, and that line is what we reach. So remember me when I'm gone.
It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Hey, thought you could leave without saying goodbye.
I used to say I lived my life a quarter mile at a time. And I think that's why we were brothers. Because you did too.
This is your car.
My car?
Official. You're all free. Home sweet home.
What's happening, dude?
Thanks for the invite.
Want to go for a drive?
No matter where you are, whether it's a quarter mile away or halfway across the world.
We all change, we all grow, a new lane, but
The
still
most important thing in life will always be the people in this room, right here, right now. Salute me, familia.
started out small to a real bond, cause we're brothers first, cause we're been through a lot, but it ain't over, we gon' keep it going.
You'll always be with me,
Change the game without even knowing.
and you'll always be my brother.
How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be there for the last ride. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride, and now you gon' be there for the last ride. Let me tell you, yeah, we came a long way. I'll see you again.
Alright, so that brings us to Fate of the Furious, which we're talking about now. And goddamn, this is a long ass video. I apologize. We haven't even gotten to F9 yet, but hey, Fate of the Furious, the 8th movie, where the villain is Dom. Basically, a hacker kidnaps Elena, and Dom's son. Dom has a son, and it's not with Letty. So she kidnaps them, makes Dom work for her. Now, the whole team is getting together to stop Dom. To stop him. Stop him good. It's also the first movie without Brian, which is kind of weird, him being gone. You know, he's kind of the central figure, and with them going against Dom, it's kind of weird, him not wanting to help. But it's a good movie. It's a straight action flick. They're working with Mr. Nobody again. It's a straight spy movie. Like, we've just gone full 007, James Bond. We're not even pretending to be about cars anymore. It's this one, right? No, it was the last one where they parachute cars out of a plane. This one ends with them battling a submarine in the middle of the snow. the Shaw brothers join up and save Vin Diesel's son. Elena dies, unfortunately. So, it ends with Dom having his family together. Dom joins the team and helps save the day. The hacker chick escapes. It's fun. It's very much a spy movie, though. There's no way you could watch this and then remember the Fast and the Furious and think they're in the same universe. It just, no way those two movies are related. And yet here we are. Which brings us to Hobbs and Shaw, the movie made because Vin Diesel and The Rock don't like each other. In this movie, Hobbs teams up with Shaw #2 and Shaw's sister, and they try to bring down Idris Elba and a computerized voice who knows The Rock, who we never find out because they set that up for the sequel that may or may not happen. But Idris Elba's a damn robot. He's a robot, and he kicks everybody's ass. And we meet The Rock's family.
Jonah, you know what comes next? Yep.
And it's intense, man. It's a spin-off, and it's a straight-up action movie. It's another buddy cop movie, kind of like Too Fast, Too Furious, but with spies and superheroes and straight-up comic book. And this franchise just lost its mind, and you can't help but love it. Even when it's at its craziest, which is probably this movie where they fight an honest-to-God robot. You still love it because it's fun. It's exciting. It's adrenaline. It's Hobbs and Shaw hating each other while Hobbs falls for Shaw's sister and Shaw won't stand for it. And there's a computerized voice controlling everything from behind the scenes. What more do you want in a movie? Honestly, what more do you want? And Ryan Reynolds is in it. And Kevin Hart. What? I forgot Ryan Reynolds is in it. And he's in the post-credit scene. Ryan Reynolds is in the Fast and the Furious universe. Some important information right there, right? But you know what that means. We are finally on to Fast 9. The new movie that just came out and broke every record since the pandemic started and was on king of the box office until about a week later when Black Widow came and knocked that shit out the park. So, I loved it. Obviously, I don't know if you can tell. Big fan of the series that is insane and ludicrous, but I just love it. It's ludicrous and it has ludicrous in it. What more do you need? I do love that throughout this movie, Rome keeps talking about how we just can't die. We keep doing all this crazy shit and nothing happens to us. We're invincible. We're never going to die. We then meet John Cena, Dom and Mia's brother, which I seem to recall her saying something about that before.
Hey, say goodbye to your only brother.
You don't.
Mm-hmm. So they retconned a brother into the series, who Dom kicked out of his life because he thought he killed his father. You gotta watch it. It's insane. But what I love about this movie is that half the movie almost is flashbacks of a young Dom. We see the events that they talked about in the first movie of Dom losing control. We see it unplayed. We see it unplay. We see it unfold. Yeah, we see it unfold. Where did I get unplayed from? We see it unfold in this movie through flashbacks, and it's brilliant. Shaw's mother, who's been in the last Fast and Furious movies and Hobbs and Shaw's in this movie, she just keeps popping up everywhere. She's more of a character than anybody else. Oh yeah, Hector was in the 7th movie. I meant to bring him up when he came back and completely forgot about it, but they keep bringing people back. You gotta love it. So this movie is Dom's brother is working with this spoiled rich kid who then kidnaps the hacker chick from the last movie and is trying to cause havoc just like always, and Dom tries to stop him, and then Dom's brother joins them and ends up helping them, and they stop the bad guy and the day is saved and everyone's coming to arrest Dom's brother, and he goes, someone once gave me a 10-second car as a second chance. And then he tosses his brother the key, and his brother drives off, and they played back to the first movie, which was beautiful. But the scene that will really gut-wrench you is the very end. And again, spoilers, why are you watching this if you haven't seen the movie yet? They're all at the family dinner, Everyone's sitting there. They're about to say grace, and they go, "Wait, someone's not here." And you see his seat. The second seat at the table is empty. And Mia goes, "Oh, he's on his way." And then you see his blue skyline zooming down the street, and the movie ends with it pulling into the driveway. It's beautiful. It is. It's beautiful. They managed to bring Brian O'Connor into the movie without recasting him, and still make him part of the family. And it's just like, oh yeah, because Mia was in this movie, because obviously it's her brother. And Han comes back from the dead. Turns out he didn't die. He was working for Mr. Nobody and faked his own death. Forgot all about that for a moment. What? Oh, and the kids from Tokyo Drift, Sean and Bow Wow, and I forget the other dude's name. They're back, and now they're like rocket scientists. And Ludacris and Rome go to outer space in a car. Go to outer space in a car. I still love this movie. I do. I don't know. Look, James Bond went to outer space, so why can't the Fast and the Furious characters, alright? I just love it. I just fucking love it. I don't know what to tell you. It's such a guilty pleasure. And in this life, there's so few things that could just bring you unadulterated joy. And the Fast and the Furious movies do that for me. They just make me happy. Oh, man. So if you want to go watch something fun, and you got a couple days to kill, just binge watch this whole series. The Fast and the you gotta start with the Fast and Furious. You gotta include Better Luck Tomorrow. You gotta watch the shorts. You gotta watch Hobbs and Shaw. Just watch it all. And we got at least 2 more Fast and the Furious movies and at least 1 more Hobbs and Shaw movie to go. Supposedly there's another spin-off coming. Who knows? But I'm in for it. Whatever they give us, they got. Oh, and there's the Netflix show I haven't seen, but it's about Dom's cousin and their spies called Spy Racers. I haven't seen. I saw like 1 episode. It was all right, interesting. Dom was in it. He's in everything. But I guess check that out too. But anyways, it's the first episode of Cinema. Not every episode will be this long. I promise you. Till next time, I'm Jonathan. Give us legends.